Hey guys, I'm Sarika and welcome to Your Knowledge Buddy. So today I'm back with another new video where I'm going to talk about New Zealand because New Zealand is either launching a new visa or they are starting the visa which has been stopped due to COVID. So I'm going to talk about SMC today and I have a special guest, Victor, and he's a licensed immigration advisor who is going to give us more details of SMC, when is it starting and what are the eligibility criteria and how you can sponsor your parents' visa as well. So make sure you watch the video till the end and let me introduce you to Victor. Hi, Victor. Thanks for joining. And if you don't mind, can you please introduce yourself to my audience?
Thank you, Sarika. My name is Pushpa Ghai, and today we are here and we will be covering New Zealand skill migration category and about me. I have been living in New Zealand for more than a decade now, and I'm a New Zealand citizen as well as I am a licensed immigration advisor.
Thank you for being part of the show. So, Victor, if you don't mind, can you please cover the recent announcement about SMC?
Sarika, SMC is a policy for the direct residency pathway. So, SMC is called Skilled Migration Category. As the name suggests, skill migration, it means that Immigration New Zealand, they have a threshold and they have a scale to judge the settlement factors and the eligibility or your level of skills for the applicants. And these factors are age, qualification, work experience, spouse, their English level, if they already have a job offer in the country. So basically, if they've studied in the country, if they have work experience in the country. So all these things, if you put together, that makes the skilled migration category. And just to clarify a bit more and just to go into a bit more detail about it. So there are some myths. A lot of people think that you cannot apply for SMC without a job offer. So that's a total myth. You can apply for a skill migration category from any part of the world. And English level is 6.5 bands you should have. And we will go into more detail about the point system today. And the other myth was you have to have a job offer. So you don't need a job offer. It's a point-based system. The skill factors and the assessments can be done from your own country and you can move to New Zealand as a permanent resident visa holder.
So can you give me some examples of the jobs who you think can be successful for SMC?
Fine. Sarika, what happens here is, so if we talk about the type of jobs or the types of skills, so Australia and New Zealand, they work together on their immigration policies. So we have ANSCO. It is Australia, New Zealand Standard Classification of Occupations. So under ANSCO, all the jobs are listed. And there are skill levels given to the jobs. So skill level 1 to skill level 5. So basically, when we talk about skill level 1 and 2 and 3, so these are the jobs where you are using some specialized knowledge, and those jobs are called skilled jobs. So to answer your question, Immigration New Zealand has divided this PR policy into two parts. If somebody is applying for the residency in the higher level skills, it means the person can demonstrate that they are skilled. Then in those scenarios, they don't need to prove anything else. Basically, I'll give you some example. If there is an accountant and that accountant has some specific skills, basically, because if me and you have to do a journal entry or a bank reconciliation, we might struggle. But because they have studied accounting principles, it would be easier for them and they will be treated as skilled. So if a chef is making naans or continental food, they will be treated skilled. So now I'll go through more details that who are not skilled or who will be lower skilled. So the lower skilled people, those who fall into skill level 4 and 5, it doesn't mean that if they are lower skilled, they cannot apply for residency. They do have option to apply for residency. The main people, those who fall into this category are the laborers or people, those who are working in the lower level skill where a person who doesn't have a specialized skill, but still they can work in that domain. There is a threshold for the salary. If you are, say for example, if there is a salesperson, the salesperson will be treated as a lower skill, like 4, skill level 4.
Mhm.
And if you are at skill level 1, 2, and 3, then you need to just meet the median wage rate criteria, and you can apply for skill migration category PR.
Mhm.
But if you are a lower skilled person, 4 or 5, then I was giving example of the salesperson.
Yeah.
So there is a pathway for them if they can demonstrate that they are highly skilled salesperson or a technical salesperson. Then they need to prove that by showing their wages. If they are getting more than $40 per hour as a salesperson, not incentives are not included. The basic salary for them is $40 plus, then they will be able to apply even with no qualification, even with just basis of their experience, they will be able to apply for permanent residency. So this is about answering about the jobs, what sort of skills or what sort of people can apply for skill migration category. So this was the answer to your question.
So how do they prove it? Yeah, if they're applying from India. So if there is a laborer who's trying to apply from India, how can they prove that they can get this many amount, per hour? How can they do that?
Okay, so they need to prove that with a job offer.
Okay, with a job offer.
So basically, if you are a lower skilled person, if somebody is doing some sort of a, say, cleaner, okay, or somebody is a farm worker, but if an employer is happy to pay them a higher wage rate, higher than the median, it's around 1.5 times of the median wage rate approximately. The median wage rate at the moment is $27.76 per hour. And if they can prove that they're highly skilled farm worker or a farm manager comes into a skill level 1, obviously, because you're managing. But if you talk about the lower laborers or even drivers, somebody is driving a car driver, but that person is a limousine car driver, a specialist driver of some sort of a vehicle. And if they are getting $40 plus wage rate, then they have proved automatically that they are skilled. And to answer your question, how people prove that they have a skilled employment in the country, they can prove that the job which they are doing, the basis of that job, on what basis they got the job is their education and the work experience, or education or the work experience. What's the meaning of that is, say for example, somebody is a cook or a chef, and that person is a curry chef or tandoor chef. And they don't have any formal qualification. So, but they know they have been doing it for last 8 years, 10 years. So they have already proven that they are skilled. And if an employer is offering them a job which is paying median wage rate, they can apply for residency with a job offer.
Okay. Thank you very much, Victor. Can I just ask, as part of the SMC application, who can be included as part of that?
Under SMC application, husband, wife, so basically both the partners and their dependent children up to the age of 24, there are few conditions. Up to the age of 24, they can be included. The conditions are the dependent children should not be married. And the other thing is that they should be studying or financially reliant upon the parents. If they can prove that, then they can be eligible under this category.
Thanks, Victor. So is there any cap on the number of visas that will be granted in a year as part of SMC?
Under SMC, Sarika, there is no cap. So I will straight away now jump on the recent announcement, what Immigration New Zealand has done and how the points are calculated, because our audience would be interested in knowing that policy is announced, but what's in it for me? Like how you guys can come here, how you guys can qualify. So now I'm going to touch those bases. I'll give you an example of the people, those who are onshore available in New Zealand, or people, those who are offshore and they do not have a job offer, then how they can qualify. So first of all, the good news is that this policy was on hold earlier, and the selections were on hold. Policy was not on hold. The selections were on hold. So they have reopened the selection, and the first selection is going to take place on 9th of November 2022. So next month would be a big selection, because a lot of people are already in the pool, and we have been putting applications in the pool, and that's a selection. So let's talk about that how you meet the points to be in the pool, which is called a EOI pool. EOI is expression of interest. So basically an applicant is making an EOI and expressing their interest in migrating to New Zealand. For that, you need mere 100 points. With basic 100 points, you will be able to enter into the pool. But we do not recommend you to apply for this with 100 points, because the threshold, the selection which is happening or which will happen on 9th of November, that's already been declared by the government. So on 9th of November, people, those who have 160 points, and exactly the same point score we discussed in the last video as well, that you need 160 points, then only we will take your case. So with 160 points, if you are in the pool, then congratulations. On 9th of November, you will be selected. There is no cap on the numbers, and all the people, those who are in the pool, all the active expression of interest will be selected at 160 points. And the next stage they will move on to, which is called ITA. ITA is invitation to apply. And then the formalities. We need to provide all the paperwork and all the documents supporting our claim of the points.
Okay. Thank you, Victor. So for my new audience, we have already done a dedicated session on New Zealand, which is already on my channel. I'm going to provide the link in my video description so you can watch the full discussion which we had with Victor almost a month ago. Thanks, Victor. So one question which I have now is, I read it somewhere on the new announcement that after getting a PR, you can also sponsor your parents' visa. Is that true, and how does that happen?
Yes, that's also, Sarika, it's a great news, because this policy was on hold since 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And New Zealand is a country which has always welcomed parents as well. Mm-hmm. So in New Zealand, we have different variety of visas. So as soon as you get the PR, you can get your parents here on a parent and grandparent category visa, which is a visitor visa. That gives you a 3-year of visa, and you can have multiple visits to New Zealand. And once you have lived in New Zealand as a permanent residency visa holder for 3 years, and then you have to meet some income threshold. And the good news is that earlier those thresholds were quite high. Mm-hmm. And now in the new announcement, those thresholds have brought down. They have came down. So with lower income, say if you want to sponsor one parent, so if you are earning 1.5 times of the median wage rate, so that's pretty common here. If you are a little bit skilled, you will be able to achieve that threshold. Mm-hmm. You will be able to sponsor your parents, and the selections will be resuming, or the selections will be starting from the August 2023. So the parent category is also open after a long time. So that's a very good news for the people, those who have been here, or people, those who are thinking of migrating, and they are worried about leaving their parents behind. Yeah. So it's a good news.
Yeah, I think after Canada, New Zealand is the only country I'm aware where you can sponsor your parents' visa as a PR. And I'm still waiting if UK will announce such visa in the future or not, but fingers crossed.
Yeah. And Sarika, Australia has a similar policy, because as you know, we are MARA agents and we do Australian visas as well. So Australia has a policy which is called contributory or non-contributory parent visa. Mm-hmm. So basically your parents have to pay, they have to deposit the money with the government of Australia Home Affairs. Mm-hmm. And then only you can bring your parents to Australia, and the waiting time is quite long. But in New Zealand, the advantage would be because there is no pipeline. Most of the people, those who have been sitting there since the policy closed, they have dropped out, or maybe now it will be a totally fresh and new policy. So that's why there are no backlogs. So processing would be quite faster.
Good. Amazing. Okay. So Victor, before we wrap this video, anything else you want to add?
Yes, I would like to give an example that if you are sitting in any part of the world, and if you want to consider New Zealand as a migration destination under the skill migration category, so how can you claim the points? So there are few advantages about New Zealand, which I'm going to just touch briefly. So the first advantage of New Zealand is, if you compare New Zealand with any other country, if you are in the high, like if you've crossed the age of 30 or 35 and you are close to 40, then in most of the countries you lose out on a lot of points for the age. Yeah. But the good news for New Zealand is, the best part of New Zealand is, up to the age of 39, we have the first stage. So you get maximum points for your age, which is 30 points, up to the age of 39. And up to the age of 55, you can apply for permanent residency under this policy. So I'll give you an example now how somebody sitting overseas can qualify and how this point system works to wrap up the video. So if somebody is below 39, they can claim 30 points for the age. If they have done masters, they get 70 points subject to getting a NZQA assessment done. So once it is done, we get 70 points for that. So 70 plus 30 is already 100 points. If their spouse also has a master's degree, then they get 20 points for that. So it's 120 points. And if they have like their experiences starting from 2 years, 2 year, 4 year, 6 years, 8 years, and 10 years. If I talk about if somebody is around 39, so obviously they will have around 10 years or more than 10 years of experience. So if you have 10 years of experience, that give you 50 points. So 120 plus 50, already you are sitting at 170. And in New Zealand, we have a absolute skill shortage list. So if your experience is a part of absolute skill shortage list, then you get 15 bonus points if you have 6 years plus experience. So already you're sitting at 185 points.
Yeah.
So this is just an example how you can claim the points. Every case is different. We understand that every scenario would be different. Somebody would have a bachelor's degree, somebody will have a job offer, somebody will have experience in different fields which are not in the skill shortage list. So Sarika, what I would recommend here, if any of the viewers, if they want a free assessment, we can offer that. We can help you to understand the system on case-by-case basis, and we can help you to understand the policy and make the right choice and the right decision. The only promise which we do here is whatever we will say, it will be black and or white. There won't be any gray areas like a lot of other consultants do, because we are bound by the code of conduct of the IAA, which is Immigration Advisors Authority. Yeah. So you can find my details over there that I'm licensed, and every year I need to maintain my license, and I'm bound by the code of conduct and the competency standards. So whatever advice you're gonna get here will be transparent and black and white.
Good. I really respect that. Thank you very much, Victor. So guys, if you got any question, please make sure you leave your comments below, or you can email ykbvictorimmigration@gmail.com. So anyone from Victor's team will contact you based on your query. So thank you very much for being part of the show, Victor, and thank you and have a great day.
Thank you, Sarika.